Heidelcast. The Heidelcast.
In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's greatest heroes, created from the cosmic legends of the universe.
Scott McDermott.
I was bit by a black widow in Hamul in my sleep.
Harrison Perkins.
Every muscle in my body is clenching right now.
And
Scott Clark.
You know, I would like to get to know a tarantula.
their mission to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Super Friends.
Good morning, Vietnam!
We'll do it live. No, we'll do it live.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Every time Michael's in a meeting, he makes me come in and give him a Post-it note telling him who's on the phone. I did it once and he freaked out. He loved it so much. The thing is, he doesn't get that many calls, so he has me make them up every 10 minutes.
Well, gentlemen.
You in that line, it does sound good on the, I did listen to one of our recordings and it does sound good.
I love that. I mean, he just delivers it with so much panache. And the world needs a little more panache, says the guy who wears jeans to church. COVID wrecked me. Ever since COVID, I know it's a terrible excuse, but I've been much more casual about going to church. Maybe it was the 12 years doing the
You're
church
in
planting on
California.
the coast.
Yeah.
Not wearing a tie. In California. And I will say, it hasn't been warm yet. Very well. Actually, we did have some warm days, but sometimes it gets pretty warm and we sit in the balcony.
If I don't have like proper clothes on, I feel like a child.
All those things that I just said, they all sound really lame now that I said them out loud.
Yeah, I was going to deflect for you, but
No, it was pretty lame. I don't really have any good excuse.
yeah, well, I guess we're not dead.
How are you, man?
Scott McDermott is here, I think.
Well, that's good. Since you're in front of me, I'm not seeing anything. I haven't taken any hallucinogenics.
Good morning.
Good morning, Scott McDermott. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, I couldn't see it. It went too quickly. There's a chance this is whiskey. That's what his coffee cup says. I doubt it. It's 7:23 a.m. Pacific, which means it's 10:23 a.m. Eastern for you guys. And I'm pretty confident that it's a little early for you for whiskey.
Mine's coffee in a Heidelblog mug. There it is.
Wow, that's panache if I've ever seen it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it does have panache. Those things turned out nicely. The Heidelcast mugs and the Heidelblog mugs and all the other merch.
That is the first time I've ever used the word panache. Also, it will be the last time.
Where would you, if somebody wanted a Heidel mug or some other merch, where would they get it?
Heidel Shoppy?
The Heidel shop, yes. Heidelblog.net/SHOP.
Oh, we spelled it wrong.
Heidelblog.net/SHOP.
Should be PPE.
So check it out. It's a great way to rep the Heidelverse and to let people know that you listen to the Heidelcast. They might even ask you what it is. You know, I was wearing Heidel merch and I actually had a chance to, maybe I mentioned this on another episode, walking into Walmart and he was maybe signing people up for cell phones or something. I don't know quite what he was doing. Anyway, he wanted to know what my shirt was about. I thought it was part of a sales pitch. Turns out he was genuinely interested. So explaining, what the Heidelcast was led to talking about what the gospel is.
I like it.
It can be done. We need to pray for that fellow. I don't remember his name, but I thought at some point he would blow me off and say, well, I'm not interested in that or whatever, or just give me an indication. But he kept asking questions.
Oh.
So, and he didn't try to sell me anything. So the whole encounter went exactly opposite of the way I thought it was going to go.
You ended up giving your pitch to him.
Well, it's kind of, yeah. It was interesting because, there are always, at our neighborhood Walmart, there are always people out front, raising money or collecting signatures or something, always. And you have to sort of run the gauntlet. So I sort of steel myself, I've got things to do. I'm going to get past these people who want to distract me and stop me and make me do something. And then it worked out. It happened. I need to remember to pray for that fellow. the Lord might soften his heart. Maybe something good will come of that conversation.
We had a men's night on Friday, and the Heidel Vid koozies came in handy, but I don't see them on the Shopee.
Heidel Vid koozies? Do we have those?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, you did at the conference. I mean, I grabbed
nice.
About 30 of them. So
We have some set aside for next year, I think. I have 2.
You have the official HRA tablecloth in safe storage.
It's true. Oh, you asked for a box of... No, I forgot to send that to you. I'm sorry.
Oh, stuff from the conference?
Yeah, I will endeavor to do better.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen the Heidel swag, the new Heidel swag. Well, this is it, boys, for me at the seminary. This is the last week as we're recording. Well, this week begins the last week of full-time teaching.
Retirement.
Yeah.
Impending.
Of a sort.
How's it feel?
I don't know. I guess I started thinking more about it a little bit at the end of last week, but I've been busy. I haven't really had a chance to think about it.
Pretty soon, all you'll have is time to think about it.
I don't think the HRA will keep me plenty busy. So I'm actually, I'm going to wait to adjust anything until I've had a chance to do just this and see how it goes. And it's the end of the semester, so that's a bad time to make any long-term decisions anyway by the time the semester ends, because the last few weeks, leading up to, finals and graduation and everything is really busy. Lots of stuff. In fact, I need to pay more attention to my calendar this week so I don't miss things. There are a lot of things going on.
What are they going to do? Fire you?
I try to be responsible.
Miss them all.
Although I didn't hand out course evaluations this year because I thought, what's the point? Which was kind of liberating, actually. I tried to be good. I didn't take advantage of the liberty, but I didn't need a lot of feedback from students about
how to make it better.
From people who've never, ever taught a seminary course about how I can do better what I've been doing for 29 years.
An institution was asking me recently about feedback, like how effective are course evaluations from students. I had conflicting thoughts about it.
I designed my own student evaluation when I taught at Wheaton because I wasn't a tenure track. I didn't have a tenure track position when I was there. It was just, I was a fill-in for 2 years. And so I actually wanted feedback because I hadn't done it before. And I thought, well, this will be helpful. So I designed my own. I found that feedback much more helpful than the feedback I've been getting for the last 29 years at the seminary. Anyway, it'll be nice not to have to think about that. I'm happy to have constructive feedback, but the extremes are not particularly helpful. Anyway, I don't have to deal with it anymore.
Do you have an example?
No, well, I mean, I do, but I'm not going to repeat any of it because it wouldn't be edifying. I mean, the extremes are either I'm the best prof they've ever had and the course was life-changing, or I'm the worst prof they've ever had and the course was life-changing, but not in a good way. And I mean, in fairness, the negative feedback is fairly minimal. I mean, in other words, it's a small percentage. As Dr. Bergsma said when I was a seminary student, 7%, and I don't know from where he got that percentage, but he said 7% of the congregation will not like you before you ever get there, which I found liberating because, I mean, okay, there's nothing I can do. It's just the way it is. And I'm not a wallflower. I have a tendency to split classrooms. Sometimes it seems sort of down the middle. People are not typically indifferent. They either really like it or, well, I mean, except for the ones that don't turn in evals, then what do you make of that? I don't know.
I think I remember having high praise for you.
Well,
on my evaluation.
That meant a lot to me. You were very kind. You've been very supportive. I appreciate that.
I didn't sign it, so you didn't know it was from me. But now you do.
Now I do, yes. We'll dig back through the evals wherever they are. Yeah. So it's been fun.
Scott McDermott probably didn't like you.
I imagine.
False.
I was just wondering if you were going to say anything.
I was letting the great doctor speak about his impending retirement, and I had Frank Sinatra's My Way playing in my head.
Kind of.
My Way, kind of.
Well, it's interesting.
The less famous song by Bill Sinatra. Kind of.
Exactly.
Kind of My Way.
It's interesting. I mean, part of what's impressive is how quickly 29 years has passed. It seems like it's speeding up.
Yeah.
Now, when I was dean and helping to parent young children and on the consistory in Escondido and helping to plant a church in Oceanside, some of those. I mean, in the way those days went quickly, but they were also, in some ways, they were long because they were some very, very long days. But it's interesting to think back. This is where the Lord put me, and the Lord knows what He's doing. And I've offered advice over the years, and He hasn't taken it. So the Lord saw fit to put me here.
And we're glad.
Yeah.
I think you're doing great. Keep up the good work.
Well, it'll be interesting to see
For another week.
Yeah, how things go hereafter. I have a lot of writing projects that I want to finish. I'm actually hoping to finish something this summer that's in rough draft form, and I think is rougher than I thought it was. There is a rough draft that is complete that needs to be cleaned up, and we hope to get that into print in 2027. And Lord willing, this week I'm going to get back to a project I've been working on for a long time, and that's a commentary on 1st and 2nd Peter. The draft of the 1st Peter commentary, 1st Peter part of it, or half of it, is done. And so I've been working on 2nd Peter. And I'm impressed, having been working in Philippians for the last several months, I'm impressed by how different the Greek is in 2nd Peter. And in some ways, how different the Greek is between 1st Peter and 2nd Peter. 2nd Peter's, I can sight read Paul pretty easily, but which is, by the way, I told the students this, I had to do some work in Plato several months ago, or maybe a year ago. And I looked at it, and I hadn't looked at Plato for 40 years in Greek that I could remember. And I pulled Plato off the shelf, and I was looking at it. I thought, this is Paul. The Greek is virtually identical to Paul's. The structure, the vocab, the grammar, the vocab, it was amazing. I didn't expect that at all. I don't know why, but I didn't expect it at all. It was very, very similar, I thought. Anyway, so working through 2nd Peter's been interesting because the vocab is completely different, or very different, and the grammar and whatnot. It's fun.
Are you going to take a wild view on authorship now?
No, it's Peter. I first translated 1st and 2nd Peter as a seminary student in the summer of, 85.
Just making sure you do get to stay HRA president after.
No, yeah, exactly. I never doubted that this was Peter. I think there's a different secretary. I think that's what accounts for the stylistic differences. But it's wonderful. It is really wonderful. So I'm excited about getting back into 2nd Peter. These are neglected epistles. I'm actually letting 2nd Peter provide the theme for the whole unified commentary. That exemplifies my commitment to Petrine authorship.
The best podcast, the Heidelcast.
What's new with you, Scott?
I was just going to ask a question about Peter.
Yeah, go ahead.
How far apart were they written?
Well, they're pretty close, I think, chronologically.
I wonder why he identifies himself as Peter and then Simeon Peter. I've always wondered that.
I don't know. That's a good
Hey,
question.
it's me, Pete. Hey, guys, it's me, Simeon. I think the amanuensis difference is big, too, but I just always thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Neither do I question authorship. I just
Yeah.
find that interesting.
It is interesting. I did wonder about that because I hadn't worked on it for a few years, so I just started over, and I started with verse 1, retranslating. I think to work on a text, you really have to immerse yourself in the author.
Like full immersion or
Just sprinkling.
You have to baptize.
a fusion?
You need to put your head under the water.
So did
to
Peter take from Jude, or did Jude take from Peter?
Well, when you're working on Peter, then it seems like Jude must have taken from Peter. Just because there's a sort of, as they say in sports talk radio, recency bias. If you put a firearm to my head, I couldn't say right now. I'd have to work on it.
I actually do think that the idea is more fully ingrained in the thought of Jude. Like, you can't extract that stuff from Jude and it make sense. I think that Peter was actually reading Jude.
Oh, interesting. Okay. That's possible. I haven't worked on that enough.
Maybe that wasn't the best way to say it.
It's too late.
Peter's expression of the same idea seems like it takes phrases, but not complete thought structures, whereas Jude seems pretty hammered out, like the whole sentence hangs that way. And I think Peter took phrases from within Jude's sentences.
And it couldn't be that Jude is elaborating on sort of prototypical material in Peter.
Well, usually when the way that, authors work is if you're not lifting the whole sentence, you take phrases and intersperse it within your own. And that just seems like how it's working within Peter's writing.
Okay. Is that true in the ancient world as well as the modern?
I forget my full argument. So I have a couple of chapters. I was starting to try to write a book on Jude, and I have a couple of chapters for this book.
You did work on Jude on...
Yeah, that was more expositional on the Heidel blog, which I'm glad I did that. But this is like, I've got some pretty deep dive into like Jude's, like what he's doing with the Christology of First Enoch and all of that, or how he's executing that. I forget my argument, but I have some things on the relationship of Second Peter and Jude.
Yeah, listener, did you know that there's a complete commentary on Jude on the Heidel blog? You can find that at the resource page, heidelblog.net/resources. And the commentary on 1st and 2nd Peter is on the resource page, as is the... now, we have audio commentaries on 2 New Testament books. There's a complete audio commentary on Romans and a complete audio commentary on Philippians. So... we discuss historical theology. I've been teaching church history and historical theology for 29 years here, 2 years at Wheaton. So there's a lot of that, but there is a real good faith attempt to work with Scripture extensively too on the Heidel blog.
Oh, here you go. Thomas Schreiner has summarized recent scholarship, noting that Jude's more compressed version of Peter's arguments suggests that he would have no real reason to compose the letter had Peter's been in circulation already.
Okay.
That's one thing.
That's interesting. All right.
Yeah, I'll send this to you. It might be interesting or help you go to sleep or...
No, I'd like to see that very much. So yeah, right now I'm just working on exposition, and before I ever actually do anything with this by way of publication, if it ever comes to that, I'm going to have to do a bunch of background work and try to get it shaped up. I need also to try to resist the impulses that turned the Heidelberg Catechism commentary into 1,000 pages. So my initial plan was to do something accessible, popular, but that maybe took a little different angle than people often take. I think eschatology is very important. That's my big theme. Honestly, here's listener, this might stimulate your thinking. I don't think it's possible to read 1st and 2nd Peter and come away with any other conclusion than that he was an amillennialist. And if the Apostle Peter is an amillennialist, then it's hard for me to imagine how one could turn around and say, oh, but there's going to be an earthly golden age before Jesus returns, or a literal 1,000 years before Jesus returns.
I cited about 2/3 of Peter last night in a sermon.
You cited it?
Yeah, I cited Peter, 2nd Peter.
Okay. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's the other thing, is that one of the interesting things about working on it is that these 2 books in general, I think, but particularly 2nd Peter, gets forgotten and overlooked. Sometime back, I have a recollection, this is several years ago, that people were criticizing my colleague, David Van Drunen, for talking about the earth being burned with fire. And it's in God's word. By the way, it's in the Belgian Confession, being purified with fire. But it's in God's word. It's in 2nd Peter. So I'm not sure why people are getting upset with that. And I think the fact that people were reacting negatively suggests that they were just unaware of 2nd Peter. It's just not on the radar.
Well, he says scary things like make your calling and election sure, and that can be scary for some people.
Yeah, or confirm it. Yeah.
Yeah. But he ends that with, and it will be richly provided to you, entrance into the eternal kingdom of our Lord Jesus Christ, provided for you.
Yeah, very good.
I love 2nd Peter.
Was our coffer question about 2nd Peter? Because this is a good question.
Yeah.
No.
2nd Peter is an outstanding.
That's a good reminder. We should find out what's in the coffer.
I thought people listen because they like to hear us.
Somebody actually told me this weekend they turn it off when we're done banter.
Well, opinion is divided. So our dear friend, colleague, and your fellow board member, HRA board member, Brad Isbell, has remonstrated with us for chatting too much.
Yeah, but he doesn't like
it's one of those things.
popular shoes either. So,
well, he's right about white-soled shoes.
I was just watching some sermons, and they let Dr. Scott Red wear white-soled dress shoes at Briarwood. So I'm like, look, I'm done now. If Briarwood can do it, we can all do it.
Somehow, logically, that doesn't. I'm not sure that really follows, but I'm not one. Clearly, I'm disqualified from commenting.
Yeah, because you wear jeans
fashion
to church.
Exactly.
Yeah, white-soled
right.
dress shoes are 3 notches above what you're doing. So
I probably shouldn't comment on that.
I actually don't wear them. I mean, my dress shoes have traditional soles. Just saying.
Yeah, I have a pair of deck shoes. Deck shoes were very popular, but there's just nothing to them. I can't really wear them anymore. I should probably give them away because they hurt my feet too much now.
What size are you?
11 probably.
I'll take
it
them.
It varies from shoe to really.
Yeah,
11.
I have a deck.
11D. Oh, all right.
But I don't have shoes for my deck.
Okay. Well, I think deck refers to boat decks, but you can walk on your back deck or your.
No,
front
I have
deck
a boat deck.
Do you really?
He doesn't have a boat. He's got a deck out in
I
the
don't
back.
have a boat, but I have a boat deck.
I think that's a dock.
No,
You have a boat deck.
in my backyard. Yeah, it's just in my backyard. Some people have like, a swing set or a sandbox. I have a boat deck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that will be good for Thea. She'll enjoy playing.
Well,
on
she doesn't
that.
have deck shoes either, so.
Okay.
Also, she can't walk.
I think most like sneakers have white soles
Yes.
now. Like, I don't think you can actually avoid it.
My Adidas shoes do.
Really? I have lots of walking, tennis shoes, walking shoes, running shoes, whatever. I don't think any of them have white soles
When did you get them?
that I know of. 3 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
It was chaos. They were having a sale, and I didn't know that was going on. And I drove into total chaos. They had a guy in a green vest directing traffic. It's like, what is going on here? I had to park about a quarter of a mile away. That's not even hyperbole. I had to walk quite a ways, which is fine. I needed the exercise. It was crazy.
But then you had to buy new shoes.
Well, yeah, I wore out my old shoes walking to get the new shoes.
This is the Heidelcast.
I have a question. What are you guys doing Thursday?
I don't know.
Why? What's happening on
It's
Thursday?
Ascension Thursday.
Oh, I'm teaching and I'm probably attending some sort of function at the seminary. There are a lot of functions this week.
Wait, no church?
Thursday? No, I don't think.
Ascension Thursday? You don't have church on that day? Wait, hold on. Don't you guys have church on like Christmas Eve and stuff?
Tuesday is Mike Abendroth's birthday.
Yeah, but Thursday is Ascension Thursday.
Oh, I have to buy donuts on Wednesday for prayer group. I have never brought donuts to my recollection. I have never brought donuts to prayer group.
Peterson's?
So,
Do you guys not know how Paschal season ends?
So we've moved on from that to donuts.
I'm such a low church knucklehead that no, I have not paid attention, even though I teach church history. I'm happy to be instructed. What is happening Thursday?
Ascension Thursday?
I'm hearing a paper from a medieval student, and Friday is the senior lunch. I enjoy that. That's fun.
So tell us, what should we do on Thursday?
Yeah, we should have an Ascension Day
You
service.
should go to your Ascension Thursday service.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to the services that are focused on the life of our Lord, the evangelical, so-called evangelical feast days.
I talked a lot about the Ascension this last Sunday, so I'm good. I just did
Yeah.
it.
What was your text?
Psalm 25.
Oh, okay.
All right, we ready to open
I'm
the
really
coffer?
into. No, I'm going to run it out now. No, you triggered me. This isn't banter. This is theology.
We did have a substantive discussion of 2 Peter.
So I'm trying to preach through the Psalter in order, a little bit at a time. Not the death march of 150 Sundays, but like 5 at a time, 5 or so at a time. And I'm really fascinated by the groupings and how they relate to one another. That has gripped my imagination right
Okay.
now.
And you've been publishing that on the Heidel blog too, which is good.
Yeah, the big theory that I think is not brand new, but maybe ironing it out into a consistent presentation might be new to me. That chiasm of Psalm 15 to 24 that begins and ends on the ascension is about the incarnate ministry of Christ twice, just backwards and forwards. Pieces of that are, I mean, all through the commentaries. So I think most of the individual pieces are not new to me, but tying it together into that. And so then, okay, what's this next section of Psalm 25 to 34? What holds this together, particularly as the next logical thing after this chiasm about the incarnate Christ's ministry? Because I see you got Psalm 1 and 2 as the introduction, telling us the Psalter is about the law and the gospel.
Did you mean Psalm 24 that you preached on last night?
No.
Okay.
And then Psalms 3 to 14 are these prayers about distress as we have the experience of the nations raging. And that's part of our experience, that like we still endure that, even with the promise that God laughs and has his king against the nations who rage. There's still history moves on and we go through that. And then, okay, the coming back to a reminder of this king who will earn right to ascend God's holy mountain for us by fulfilling the law and its penalties in Psalm 15 to 24, and then move back to these prayers in the next stretch. And what is the development of the book? I'm convinced it is a book that, isn't just here's 150 random things, but in order.
Well, 5 books.
Well, okay, yes, but that's part of the question is like, okay, what is each book about? And then what are the collections within the books?
Yeah. No, I like that very much. For the listener who might not know what a chiasm is, can you say what that is?
Yeah, so it's a structure of poetic thought that kind of repeats itself, but it moves towards the middle. If you think of it's usually demonstrated with a triangle.
Or half of an X. Think of half of an X.
Yeah.
Right? So the two sides are parallel, right? The two sides of the X are parallel, and the middle is different. And the middle is the point.
Yes.
Right? The middle is the part that's not repeated. So it's half a key, which is roughly looks like half of an X. You cut an X right down the middle.
Oh, right. I actually don't think I ever realized that was the metaphor there.
That would give you a keyism or a chiasm, we say.
So it's a way of putting ideas in parallel.
Yeah.
Whereas the beginning and the end so for example, Psalm 15 to 24, the first one and the last one are both about the ascension. And then you move through the steps of this, the life of Christ, and it goes backwards, ascension, resurrection, burial, death, life, and this bundle of Psalms about his life in the middle, particularly his righteous life, focused in Psalm 19 as this presentation of God's law, celebration of God's law, and the righteous standard for the king. And then moving back to, after his life, well, his death, Psalm 22, his burial, his 3 days in the grave, essentially, Psalm 23, his resurrection and ascension, Psalm 24.
Oh, I like that. I like that very much. So what I like about this in part is that it recognizes that there's an intentionality to the Psalter, and there are human authors who are intentional, and there's a divine author, right, behind the human authors, working through the human authors, who is intentional, and that there's structure and pattern and order. I think that's really important. And that it points to Christ, which is a wonderful way, the best way to read the Psalms. Not to say that they don't have anything to say to us or that they're, have nothing to do with their original context. They do, but I think that's edifying. Yeah, that's exciting. I hope you do something with that. I mean, you're doing stuff with it on the Heidelblog, but I hope you do more with it. That would be great.
I need to get through all of them to have a
yeah. And you could do worse than spending, 5 years on the Psalter. That's not a horrible thing. I mean, you said 150 sermons or something. 3 years, I guess.
So on pace right now, Yeah, it's just things become tedious for me. I need breaks, and it's good to step away, come back, step away, come back. So
Okay.
Step away, write a book. Step away, write a book.
Yeah. Right now, I'm on pace to do them in 10 years, I think.
That's fine. That'd be great. How is Thea, Scott?
She is wonderful, and she's looking forward to, we celebrated the Lord's Day with 2 services yesterday, but she's also really looking forward to Ascension Day on Thursday. Why did I have in my mind that the Synod of Dort said something about Ascension Day?
Because it would be the church order.
Because you're delusional.
And no, the church order of the Synod of Dort does say something about Ascension Day. Evangelical feast days or something. It lists days. I can find it for you. Did you find the church order?
It said Article 67, but
Yeah.
I couldn't find exactly what it said about Ascension.
So Article 67 of the Church Order of Dort says the congregation shall observe, in addition to Sunday, also Christmas, Easter, and Pentecost with the following days. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that, with the following days. Since in most cities and provinces of the Netherlands, besides these days of the circumcision and ascension of Christ are also observed. All ministers, wherever this is still the custom, shall put forth effort with the authorities that they may conform with the others. So it's 67 does mention ascension.
So it's saying to celebrate it along with the other days?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. So there you go.
Is that a Reformed church order, or what is that?
Well, it's the church order of the Synod of Dort. They knew, the delegates to the Synod of Dort knew a little bit about being Reformed.
But maybe not all of them.
Maybe, well, I mean, I have questions about some of the delegates. I mean, just because a guy was at Dort doesn't mean that we can baptize whatever he said.
As an individual, especially.
That's right. It's like we can't clothe him with the orthodoxy of Dort just because he was there, which is a trick.
I do what I want.
In my mind, Dort said something about the Ascension, so I just wanted to see if that was real or not.
Well, yeah, it's in the church order, but not in the canons of the Synod of Dort.
No, they weren't worried about liturgical days.
No, but the church order, yeah.
They were just inventing the tulip, that's all. That was the only thing they cared about.
That's the transitive property when you try to transfer the authority of the work of the synod to the writing of a particular individual. That's a trick that people sometimes play. All right, I'm going to say it's time to open the coffer. Stand by.
Call or text now 760-618-1563. Hi, it's the voice. I'm working road construction this week. Turns out that when air traffic control says that I can't do a flyby, they mean it. Who knew? Tom Cruise got away with it. The FAA says that I can fly again after I take a safety course. In the meantime, I'm on a road crew in Nebraska. When you see the guys and gals in orange, think of me. And don't forget, when the coin in the coffer clinks, the cost of bandwidth shrinks. Idlecast. Ladies and gentlemen, the Super Friends.
All right. Let's...
Do you have paper in your hand?
You guys can confirm.
Whoa.
I do, and you can see it even. There it is. It's the actual, it's not even just some random piece of paper. This is the email from Ian, who wrote to us. Thank you, Ian. And he says, my question is for the Super Friends, for all of you. And I would really like to have everyone's input. Even Scott McDermott's.
It doesn't say that.
It doesn't say that. And it says, my fiance and I are getting married in January 2027.
Congratulations.
We both grew up in the OPC. That's the Orthodox Presbyterian Church. Haven't gone through premarital yet. I think that means premarital counseling. But I'd like to start thinking through how we discipline our children. It's exciting. You're planning on children. Spanking, comma, grounding, comma, a firm yell. Now I'm exaggerating. But I grew up with spankings and she did not. She also has sisters. I do not. Thanks, Scott, Harrison, and Clark. So that's interesting. I struggle with this a lot because I did my childhood in the 60s. So all the spankings and all that were back in the 60s in a previous century, generations ago. And spanking was the norm when I was when and where I was raised. It was expected, and spanking happened at home. It happened at school. It could happen a lot of places. As a kid, I felt like I was pretty much always in jeopardy of being spanked, and I needed it. I deserved it. I don't think I ever was spanked when I didn't deserve it. So we did practice corporal punishment when we raised our children. And my sense was that it was somewhat unique when we were raising our children. We tried to do it in a measured way. We tried not to apply corporal punishment when we were angry. We tried to let the anger subside so that it would not be, out of wrath. But I'm a believer in corporal punishment. I think doing away with it has been a significant mistake in my view. Now, I think it has to be done carefully. And frankly, I kind of remember when it started to become controversial, which probably goes back to the 70s. A lot of cockamamie theories emerged in the 70s.
Yeah,
self-esteem movement and all that stuff. And I readily admit that corporal punishment can be abused and can cross a line, and parents that abuse their children should be punished, I think, severely, depending on the severity of the abuse. But I'm in no way sanctioning or approving abuse. But I also reject the notion that any form of corporal punishment is intrinsically abusive. So that's where I come down on that stuff. But I also think it's useful for punishments or correction or discipline to be creative. And it can be easy to be lazy and thoughtless when correcting children, because the point is to correct them, to teach them, to set boundaries for them, and thereby to love them. I don't think it's loving to refuse to set boundaries for children and enforce those boundaries. I think that's actually a form of cruelty. Children need to know. In fact, they're asking you to set boundaries. They're immature. They're not going to say, "Parent, wouldst thou set boundaries for me?" No, they're not going to say that. But they're counting on us to be the parent.
It'd be awesome if they did, especially if they spoke in King James.
They're counting on us to do it, and we're not loving them, helping them by refusing to do it out of fear of losing their affection or losing their friendship. The notion that parents can be friends to their children, where the children become, co-parents or colleagues or something like that. I think that's nuts. I see parents bargaining with children, negotiating with them. That's nuts. That makes no sense to me. And I don't think it's helping the child. I think we should explain ourselves. I think we should be rational with our children. I think they can understand more than we think they can. But my children have both said thank you for disciplining them. They've worked with people who were not disciplined as children. And they said that they felt like they could trace a direct correlation between not having been disciplined as children and the way they conducted themselves as adults. I'm grateful for having been disciplined. My father put the fear of death and the Lord in me before I was even a believer. I knew there was a judgment. I knew there was a judge. I knew that death was a possibility. He never did anything violent to me, but he did make it very clear that certain things were completely unacceptable and would be met with fierce resistance. Lying, for example, was completely unacceptable. That would be met with discipline. He took his belt off and he snapped it and said, if I crossed certain boundaries, that I would get the belt. I don't remember getting it. I got the hairbrush. I probably got the wooden spoon. There were some things done to me as a child that I would not do, that today would probably get a parent arrested. But it was the 60s. It was a different world. We didn't have seat belts for children. We just sat in the back of the station wagon at high rates of speed. I mean, it was a different world. Children were a little more disposable, I think. In the 60s, there were lots of us. They were building new school buildings. They were running out of space. And I think parents were, they turned us loose in the morning and we didn't come home until the streetlights came on. And my parents had no idea where we were. There were no Apple, what is it? Trackers. What are those
Apple
things
Watches.
called? Yeah, no, not that. You put a little
CD
disc on your child, and then you can
the Apple Tag.
you can see where they are.
AirTag. Yeah, there you go.
Tags, yes, air tags. Yeah,
Is that real?
Nothing like that. No leashes. I've seen that for years. Actually, and I don't criticize parents for putting some sort of attachment on their, like a little cable or something. Keep track of their kid, keep them from running out into the street and that sort of thing. Especially if you're out for a walk, something like that. That makes sense. You don't want a kid running out into traffic. So that's where I come down on that stuff. I think our kids turned out reasonably well. They don't seem damaged.
So I don't want to sound, I accept everything you've said.
Well said.
Indeed. And this is from experience, not trying to sound lax or anything. I think you have to get to know your kid and find out what works.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Kids are not uniform, right?
They should wear uniforms, but they are not uniform.
And to say like, well, it's one thing to say this is an acceptable way of correction. It's another thing to say you have to do it because that's the way that, and which is not what I've heard you say, because this is what they need and it'll just work is another thing. For our son, we have found amongst the various approaches, like, and trying to find, what actually prompts him to come back into line. Amongst the approaches that we've taken, it was, okay, when we take away his toys for doing something that, nothing else worked, but that worked. And it's like, you can double down on all the other things and you're just going to, like, we would have just found ourselves in a spiral of everybody's angry and we're not making any progress. But by golly, we stuck to the line of discipline that, we said was right.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, you can do that, but you're not actually helping the kid, like, in that respect, unless you find something that really matters to them. That's part of it is they need to learn repercussion for conduct.
Consequences.
Consequences that shouldn't, for behavior that should not be the case. And so, when we started, okay, if you do these things, you lose all your toys and you have to earn them back. Okay, well, you know what? Actually, that behavior started changing pretty fast when lots of other things did not work.
Yeah.
Raising my voice will occasionally work, but one of the things that I do with that is, because I don't want, one of the things I sincerely want is for my kids to grow up and not think that I was undisciplined. I want them to realize that there was self-discipline, self-control, like things were on purpose. And so, when I am upset and if I think raising my voice will be effective, I usually say, if you do this more, I'm going to raise my voice so that he knows it's not just, oh, surprise, dad's yelling, but he knows that there is a lead up and that I've done this on purpose. He hasn't like triggered me. It wasn't flying off the handle by any stretch of the imagination. It was very much in control and he knows it's coming and he has a chance to course correct if he would like to opt for that.
Yeah.
And it has worked.
No, I think that's right. And, as I said earlier, not all children are the same, right? There are some children that need a firm hand. There are some children who are so tender, their consciences are such and their personalities are such that they really don't need a heavy hand, that they're very sensitive.
Yeah, they're not uniform.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. They're not uniform.
Exactly. So in that case, you'd be making a mistake. For example, using corporal punishment. You wouldn't want to do it just to do it, to say, I'm tough, I did it, or whatever. I'm a disciplinarian, I held the line. What you're trying to do is to correct your child, to show, and in that way, to be willing to risk the disapproval of your child momentarily in order to do what's right for your child, because the child won't be happy with you while this is happening, most likely.
Heidelcast.
We don't negotiate when there's bad behavior. I mean, you know, I don't offer reward if you stop. We've never done that. And I don't intend to do that. We have used some of those things as incentives. You know, I'm thinking particularly of dinner. And, you know, he says, I want ice cream. And it's like, well, you know, you've eaten enough of your dinner that, like, I'm content that you ate dinner, but you haven't eaten enough of your dinner to content me that you've earned ice cream. So in those kind of situations, like, well, you can be done with dinner if you'd like. You ate, you know, half the food on your plate. But if you want dessert, you've got to eat the rest.
Yeah.
And we have incentivized good behavior, although we've not negotiated with bad behavior.
So many things are flowing through my head right now. I've just got so many things, both from my own childhood and also, you know, the wise words of one Dwight Schrute. What, did you grow up in a household with no consequences?
That's right. He said that.
He did say that when someone tried to leave a line and can you hold my place in line? And he said, no.
Did you grow up?
But did you grow up in a household with no consequences? Anyways, I think I'd like to frame my comments and the whole idea of disciplining children from the perspective of discipleship, because that's really what it's a part of. You know, as fathers and mothers, as parents, we're called to disciple our children. And we can see this all throughout the Holy Scriptures. And part of that discipleship is discipline, whether it comes through, like Harrison is describing, or like you described from the 60s. There's different ways that we can discipline. But I think we have to keep in mind the great, really sacred duty that we have as parents who've been entrusted with these children. And I'd like to read from the BCO, the portion that we read as ministers when we baptize infants.
Which BCO?
The PCA BCO.
Thank you.
Is it different, do you think? I wonder if it is different.
I don't know. I just was bristling at the thought that there is the BCO.
The BCO that I use, which would be the PCA. This is chapter, I want to say 56. Yeah, 56-5. And the minister asks the following questions. Do you acknowledge your child's need of the cleansing blood of Jesus Christ and the renewing grace of the Holy Spirit? And question 3, do you now unreservedly dedicate your child to God and promise, in humble reliance upon divine grace, that you will endeavor to set before him or her a godly example, that you will pray with and for him or her, that you will teach him or her the doctrines of our holy religion, and that you will strive, by all the means of God's appointment, to bring him or her up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord? So I think any discipline has to be done from that perspective.
Yeah.
And I think it's also really important, and I think you guys either alluded to this or already said it, is that you can't discipline if you have not taught them. You can't get upset with them for doing something you've never told them how they need to behave in a particular situation. You can or cannot do this. You don't tell them they can or cannot do it by punishing them. You have to teach them first, and that's part of discipleship. So the whole thing, I think, needs to be framed with respect to discipleship. And there's a lot of great resources out there, including the Holy Scriptures. If you just look up, you know, disciplining children, just some sort of search engine, you'll get 20, 30 texts. And I think Deuteronomy 6 is important. I think Ephesians 5 and 6 are important.
Hebrews 12.
Yeah, Hebrews, Proverbs.
Can I read Hebrews 12? Beginning with verse 7. Well, we could back up, but we'll start with verse 7. It is for discipline that you have to endure. God is treating you as sons. For what son is there whom his father does not discipline? If you are left without discipline, in which all have participated, then you are illegitimate children and not sons. Besides this, we have had earthly fathers who disciplined us, and we respected them. Shall we not much more be subject to the Father of spirits and lived? For they disciplined us for a short time, as it seemed best to them. But he, meaning God, disciplines us for our good, that we may share in his holiness. For the moment, discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. So there's the paradigm, right? But there are, as you say, lots of other places where you could go in Scripture without necessarily going to difficult texts. Train up a child from Proverbs, right? To me, it seems like that I've heard so many different interpretations of that passage. I'm not sure exactly what to do with it. And I think sometimes people have done things with it that, well, some people take it as an immutable promise, and I think that defies the nature of a proverb. A proverb is a general truth, I guess. Is that a fair characterization?
You fairly characterized a proverb.
Yeah, I was thinking of Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. That's the ESV. And I've heard that used many times as a sort of immutable promise that if you do things correctly as a parent, that your child will necessarily turn out the way that he should. And that's not true. It doesn't take into account, well, as I say, the nature of Proverbs, and B, history, right? There have been lots of children who were well raised who, for one reason or another, didn't turn out. So, but as a general rule, right, if you raise your child well, then you have reason ordinarily to expect things to go better than if you neglect your child. If you neglect your child and don't care for them, don't love them, don't discipline them, well, we kind of know ordinarily how that will turn out. And if you don't know what that means, I don't know, go to a mall on a Saturday or go to any public place and watch and see what's going on and see how kids are. It's not say that kids are, we've all had moments with our kids where things got out of hand and whatnot. But
the point you're not measuring that by the fact that kids get out of line. The measure is what are parents doing in response.
Yeah. And what are they doing ahead of time, and what are they doing in response?
Yeah, know your kids. That's the big one, and help them understand that clear lines are good for them, and you need to show them where those lines are, and then help them see that it's not acceptable to cross those lines.
Yeah, and that there are consequences, whatever they may be.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, it doesn't benefit to cross the line on purpose.
I think it's good too. I mean, to go back to Scott's point and maybe to close with something a little more upbeat. This is part of a broader pattern of praying with your child and reading scripture with your child, having the child at the table, right? So that we're praying before we eat, and we're taking the child to church with us, and we're ideally keeping the child with us during the worship service, if at all possible. So we're not sending the child down to or out to children's church and farm our children out. And I think, just being involved in your child's life. So it's all part of that, so that your child knows. And then to make sure your child knows after you've disciplined him that you love him and that you're not disowning him, right? I think that's important, that you reaffirm, I'm disciplining you because I love you. I know that you don't like it. I didn't like it when I was disciplined, but it's necessary, and someday you'll understand.
I think that's one of the things why the self-discipline aspect is so important to me. Like, this isn't, I'm not done with you. I'm not not speaking to you.
I'm not cutting you off.
All of this is restrained and measured and
that's
this,
right. Yeah.
Made upon rational, principled decisions to help you understand what's good and what isn't good in the world as you navigate it. Yeah, and I should have emphasized the sort of front-end positive instruction more, and just why it's good to apologize and have them do that.
And if you sin against your child, right, one of the most powerful things you can ever do as a parent is to go to your child and say, I was wrong. I sinned. I erred. Please forgive me. Right? So for your child to see that you're not a tyrant, that you're a fellow sinner, a fellow member of the covenant of grace, a fellow believer, and that just as in need of forgiveness and grace as they are. That might be one of the most powerful things that a parent could ever do, is to go to a child and say, you know what, I blew it. I disciplined you in anger, and I lost my temper, and I'm sorry for that. Please forgive me. That was wrong. That kind of a thing. Whatever it is. Your child, I think, does need to respect you, but that respect needs to be earned. It can't just be commanded.
And it should be full
Formal.
Well, also not just I respect that person as somebody who merely puts me into line if I do bad things. I think that what you're saying there also garners respect in terms of knowing to do good things and right things, and a fuller portrait of Christian character rather than just bad things like, it's good to do good, not just avoid bad. So I appreciate that very much.
Thanks for listening. Tune in tomorrow for more from the Heidelcast, brought to you by Heidelberg Reformation Association.org. Don't forget, when the coin in the coffer clinks, the cost of bandwidth shrinks. Copyright Heidelberg Reformation Association. All rights reserved. This is a Heidel Media production.
The best podcast